I have found that one of the most important ingredients to quality car repair, whether you're repairing it yourself or having it repaired, is to use good quality parts. That's why I've been using and recommending Napa parts for many years. They fit, they work, and they last. And they have the Napa name backing that up. Professionals do not like having to do a job over, and that's why so many professional shops use Napa Auto Parts. My guess is that you don't want to do the job over either, and that's why you should use Napa Parts also. So for a Napa Auto Parts store near you, go to NapaOnline.com and search for the store that is most convenient for you. You'll also see a lot of neat specials and some very useful information. So get the good stuff. Get Napa Auto Parts.
This hour of the CNC Auto Show is brought to you by your local Napa Auto Care Centers. To find a shop near you, go to NapaAutoCare.com. Live from the Car Care Studios, it's the CNC Auto Show with your personal on-air and online automotive service advisors, Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney. So climb in, buckle up, and enjoy the ride on the CNC Auto Show.
And hello, car lovers, and welcome to the CNC Auto Show. And I am Aaron Clements.
I'm John Ryan.
And we're both here to give you information on ways to make your car, truck, or SUV safer, to make it more dependable, and to make it last longer for less money and less hassle. And we have a lot of different methods of doing that, but our number one way is by the telephone.
That's right.
We enjoy it when you pick up and smile and dial 706-863-5800. That can be done on Saturday mornings, 8:06 to 10 Eastern time, from just about anywhere that you might be located. So give us a call. You can also watch the show. All you have to do is go to Facebook and go to CC Auto Show, and we will be sitting right there talking with you.
That's right.
And you'll be able to see a lot of pictures of the different things that we do also. So go to Facebook, watch us, and you don't have to watch that now. You can watch past shows. You can watch this same show later in the week if you want to. Now, just before we fire this thing up, we want to mention to you that if you're looking for a good professional automotive repair facility almost anywhere in this country, all you need to do is go to NapaAutoCare.com, and you'll see a list, because usually there's several, and I've seen cases where 10, 15 different shops will be in one city or one area. You can pick out the one that's right for you, do a little research, go talk with them, and boom, build a relationship. Or if you happen to be out of town, that's a great time to do that same thing if you have an emergency, because there are some great people. Okay, John Ryan, are we ready to pop the cork on this thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, all right, let's crank it up.
All right. Sounds
all right. What happened?
Oh, I cranked up the hybrid.
Oh, okay. All right. It sounds good. Oh, and the engine is not running yet.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So we're ready to go, though.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, we're setting on go. Okay, we want to give the theme right before we go to those wonderful phone calls. And the theme has to do with easy repairs. There's a lot of things that people like to do in their car themselves, and we will cover a lot of those things that you can do yourself. And we'll also give tips on ways to do it, and we'll give safety tips on how to stay out of trouble as you do it. Are we ready to go to the phone calls?
Yeah, Aaron, let's go over to Vince.
I think that's a great idea. Vince, welcome to the CNC Auto Show.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We are doing just right, and we appreciate the call.
I've got a simple question. I have a 2011 Toyota truck, and it's only got 50,000 miles on it. Should I change the antifreeze in it, or should I wait? How do you know when you should change? Years, some say 150,000 miles, and I mean, how do you know when you should change it?
Okay. I think that's a great question. That's kind of what this show's all about, kind of putting everybody's opinions together and making the best of it. My opinion is just that. I like to change it every 3 years, simply for the cost involved. I mean, no doubt the coolant would probably last till, 100,000 miles. You'd probably start seeing some problems pop up. Toyota coolant is kind of notorious for a thing. There's no technical term for it, but Aaron, you know it. A lot of the hoses start to build up a crust almost, and a debris around different.
Gummy.
Yeah, well, that sounds like gummy bears, but
yeah.
But yes.
Crusty.
However, if you do that service, as far as going ahead and swapping the coolant out, do a good coolant vacuum exchange. and put new coolant in there, you won't see those problems. So that's why I tend to lean on the cost involved for, of course, Toyota. That Toyota will last 500,000 miles without even a question. I mean, absolutely. So keeping it maintained like that, I would lean on doing that service.
Yeah. The coolant will still look good. When you look at it, it'll look nice and clear. It'll look real good.
Right.
But what happens is the anti-corrosion additives that have been put in that coolant, they deplete in that length of time. And in things like your water pump, heater core, and all that would still last a while. But having that fresh coolant in there with the right additives in it would make things like your water pump just last and last. And
That's right.
in heater cores and gaskets in the engine. So definitely it's a good preventative maintenance item to do. And I agree with John Ryan.
Yeah.
About 3-4 years, maybe up to 4 years on a brand new car. But I would say somewhere in the 3-year range is when I like to do mine also.
Right.
Well, is there a good coolant on the market that y'all would recommend?
I mean, there's so many good ones that it'd be hard to recommend one. Now, we do, of course, use a Service Pro brand. It's more on the commercial level, so without any Napa would have a great on. Yeah. It's one we've found that works great, but just about any Napa would have a great coolant for you. Even the Napa brand is very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And you want to get one that's approved for the Toyota because there are different antifreezes have different type additives and have different ways of doing what they do. So you want to make sure that you get one that's approved for your particular vehicle.
That was my next question. Thank you.
All right. And it's normally identified by color also.
Right.
More than likely the antifreeze that you'll get will be that same color. Some antifreezes is sort of universal and will cover a lot of different brands. So you may get it and it may be more of a clear color. But you do want one that does say it's approved for your Toyotas.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We do appreciate your call. And the number to call is 706-863-5800. If you have a question about your car, truck, or SUV, that's 806 to 10 Saturday mornings in Eastern Time. And John Ryan, who will we be talking to?
All right, Aaron, let's go over to James.
Perfect. Hey, James, welcome to the show, and what can we help with?
Good morning. I have a 1998 Buick LeSabre 3.8 liter, and the vehicle suffers from an intermittent service engine soon light. And the code that was derived from my local auto parts store was the Peter 1404, and had language on the screen directing towards a EGR condition.
Mm-hmm. Right. James, the reason that
research I did.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead.
That is quite a common code, especially for intermittent operation as far as that light coming and going. That system doesn't technically work 100% of the time that the vehicle's driving. It meets a lot of different stipulations for that EGR system to work. For instance, if you drove like a 16-year-old kid and had it to the floor every stoplight, the EGR system wouldn't necessarily open and function in its entirety during that drive cycle. If you drove it normally under a load, the EGR valve can open to prevent knocks, which of course that's spark knock and whatnot. And if it sees one of the systems failing, it will set codes like that. That system uses a switch on top of the EGR valve that monitors its position called a pintle switch. And when it's open, it'll send a signal to the computer indicating it's open. When it's closed, it sends another signal saying it's closed. There's 2 or 3 things that are kind of common on that. I will say, Aaron, you probably have one in your pocket, the EGR valve, how bad those are about failing. But crazy thing is, of course, it operates off of vacuum. So the ports can restrict, and the EGR valves are kind of known for
And that
failure.
can be restricted from either side because you have exhaust gas running up to an EGR valve, and then you have an intake port running up to it. And what's supposed to happen is as you're accelerating, that pintle lifts up and lets exhaust air go into the combustion chamber. And that displaces the oxygen and actually cools the combustion chamber down just a little bit. And that's what gets rid of oxides of nitrogen. But also one of the other things that it does is it cuts down on pre-combustion or spark knock. And spark knock is actually just the fuel air exploding due to pressure
Yeah.
before the spark plug even goes, and that makes the valves rattle. So you would so that system is pretty important because it can long-term cause engine damage. But like John Ryan mentioned, you could have ports clogged up or you could have a bad EGR valve. Now, of course, you have electrical signals going to it to open and close the let more or less vacuum go to that valve. So you want to confirm and make sure the vacuum line going to the valve is good.
Right.
Then if I pull the EGR valve off, looks like it sits right up on top here. I'd visually inspect those two ports and see if they look free and clear, or could the blockage be beyond my view at that point?
Yes, a real quick tip before we go to break. What you can do is take that valve off, crank the vehicle up. You should have exhaust coming out of one port and vacuum out of the other. If you have both of those, the system in itself should be functioning.
Okay. All right, Aaron, we're going to take a real quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Regular maintenance is the key to getting the most out of your vehicle, but you shouldn't have to sacrifice trust and peace of mind when finding a repair center for your automobile. Napa Auto Care Centers are built around a high-quality standard whereby independent repair business owners are invited to join based on integrity, qualifications, and expertise. That's how Napa Auto Care ensures that you get the best-in-class service that you deserve. From routine maintenance to major repairs, you are covered with ASE-certified technicians who use high-quality Napa parts and provide exceptional work that you can feel confident about, knowing it's backed by a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. With the largest network of independent technicians in the U.S., a Napa Auto Care Center is sure to be near wherever you may be.
Thanks, Aaron. For a list of Napa Auto Care centers near you, go to NapaAutoCare.com or dial 1-800-LET-NAPA.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda, that's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Thanks for listening to the C Auto Show with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney, two real live automotive maintenance and repair experts who actually work on all kinds of vehicles every week. So they're always up to date on what's happening in the automotive world. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes, so don't you dare touch that dial.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I might look like an adult, like a person who could possibly be a parent, but I have no idea how to talk like one. And everyone knows that if you want to be a parent, you have to sound good when you say things like, "Don't make me turn this car around," or "because I said so," or "Don't make me come back there." I don't even really know what those things mean, but I know that I actually believed my parents when they said them to me. How did they manage to sound so convincing? Here we go. "Don't make me come back there." Ugh, no, that's not tough enough at all. Kids can sense weakness. "Don't make me come back there." Ooh, yeah, that's better. In fact, that kind of sounded like my dad. Weird.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to listen to you practice your dad voice. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
If you are looking for a Napa Auto Care Center to service and repair your vehicle, consider Nuttall Tire. Nuttall Tire is located at 2405 Millwood Avenue. Nuttall Tire are your tire experts, and they provide professional automotive services, including all major and minor repairs. Most repairs come with a 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty with the Napa name to back it up. They have been providing automotive service to the Lexington, Dentsville, and surrounding areas for over 30 years. That's over 3 generations of family-owned and operated service. It's their family serving yours. Nuttall's Tire has a nice, comfortable waiting room with free Wi-Fi where you can relax with a cup of their fresh coffee, or they are happy to provide local shuttle service back to your home or office. To request a quote, make an appointment, or to learn more about Nuttall's Tire, give them a call at 803-254-7988 or visit their website at nuttalltire.com.
Let's head back down to the Car Care Studio with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney.
And welcome back to the C Auto Show. And one of the things that we have not talked about as far as an item that people will change themselves has to do with the fuel filter.
That's right.
And of course, we have a lot of cars don't have fuel filters now.
Yeah. You know, it seems like they're coming back, though. It really does. Yeah. It really does seem. I think they took them off for many, many years here fairly recent. I think they saw a lot of problems. I think they're coming back. I really do.
I think it's a good item to have. Sure. Always keep a fire extinguisher nearby if you're changing a fuel filter, because fuel, all it takes is one spark and boom, you got a fire.
Share with the listeners one of the worst feelings in the world when you're changing a fuel filter. Let's see if you get it.
Well, that's I'll go ahead and mention it. When you're changing a fuel filter, you normally have your arms in the air.
Oh man,
the fuel always has a little bit of pressure on it.
Right.
So as you loosen the line, the fuel runs down your arm.
Here it comes,
and it runs straight to your armpit.
And you will not be able to move that arm for 2 days. That is the worst feeling in the world.
And that's a very common thing.
I'd rather get it in my eye, honestly. I really would.
And that's on most cars. If you're changing a fuel filter, that's what happens. So do make sure that you have a fire extinguisher nearby, and release the pressure slowly and let the pressure slow out. The books tell you different ways to where you can release fuel pressure.
Pull the fuel pump relay out, let it run until it runs out. Yeah, all those kind of things.
So you may want to consider doing that. But when you're changing the fuel filter, also once the fuel filter has been replaced, crank it up and make sure that there's no leaks on the vehicle. No fuel leaks at all. Look at it extra close to be sure. John Ryan, you know something we didn't do yet, and that was to give a tech tip quiz.
Let's hear it. What you got?
All right, here we go. And of course, the winner will win an I Answered the Tech Tip Quiz golf shirt, and that's a shirt, a beautiful golf shirt,
right?
And it's also got the C Auto Show logo. It's got I Answered the Tech Tip Quiz underneath it. So
pretty
it's
famous,
a great man. It's a great shirt. To have. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. Okay, here is the question. Johnny owns a 2004 Ford F-150 truck. He had a flat tire. While he was changing the flat tire, he lost something, and it made it much harder to drive the truck. What did he lose? And if you know the answer to the Tech Tip Quiz, you give us a call, and you could win that beautiful shirt that we have there. Okay, now also one of the next things is we are talking about different things that you can do yourself. And this one, you may not be able to actually diagnose it yourself, but in most cases, you would be able to change it yourself.
Right.
And that would be an ABS sensor.
Oh, yeah. Those aren't too terribly involved. Of course, most of them are mounted by a single bolt in most cases. Like you said, it'd be hard to diagnose in your driveway, but as far as replacing, it can be done. The biggest thing is just, kind of seeing which way the wires route, make sure the wires route in a direction to where they won't contact different moving parts on the front suspension, rear suspension, and just making sure that all the connections are real clean and, of course, fully seated.
And there are some ABS sensors, though, that are built into the bearing.
Right.
And so you have to change the whole bearing to be able to change the sensor. But the majority of them just bolt on.
That's kind of like the saying, you buy the ABS sensor, get the bearing free.
Yeah. And then there's also another item that kind of fits hand in hand that in most cases it can be fairly simple to change, and that is an oxygen sensor.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So some of those can be some sensors.
Yeah, some of those can be kind of stuck in the manifold at times. Probably not a good tip to tell them if you try it while the vehicle's hot. It comes out a little bit easier.
You want to do it. Okay, you ready to go to some calls?
Yeah, Aaron, let's go over to Tom.
I am ready to go. Tom, welcome to the C Auto Show, and I see that you may have an answer to our Tech Tip Quiz.
Well, maybe.
Well, let us put you on stage just in case.
Okay.
Okay, we are ready for your maybe answer. Let's go for it.
Did he lose his keys?
His keys? Oh, that would have made it very hard to drive.
Yeah.
But no, that's not the answer. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. And the number to call, 706-863.
We just lost another caller, Don, if they would call back.
Yeah, we had some calls drop off the line there for whatever reason a little earlier, and I don't know if the phones are doing something a little unusual or not. But I was talking about the sensors that you can change. There's a lot of these sensors that you are able to replace yourself, but the biggest thing about it is just because something, you may have a tool that it may say this is the trouble code with the car,
right?
And let's say it gives a code
pedal
for an
position
oxygen
switch.
sensor.
Yeah.
And just because you can change the oxygen sensor don't mean that you necessarily should, because that code may not necessarily mean that sensor is bad.
Exactly.
It just may mean that something in that part of the system is bad.
Right.
So you don't want to go spend all your money on the parts and it be not the right parts.
Well, too, anytime you, like that scenario you just mentioned, a lot of times I think, if it's got a 171 or 174 code, which is a lean mixture, and you pull the code, a lot of times either the scan tool or the chart that comes out with that code says possible O2 sensor. So you put the O2 sensor in there, you spend, what are they running now, 80, 90, sometimes $300,
sometimes
depending
more.
on what kind. You put that in and it doesn't fix it, and you carry it to a shop that can diagnose it properly, and they find $1 worth of vacuum line that came off of it. So no doubt those kind of things can come up. So.
And a vacuum line can do the exact same
mixture,
store the exact same code. So you do want to be sure what's wrong. But again, there's many sensors that you can change yourself if you know that they're bad.
That's right.
Okay.
Let's go over to Rob, Aaron.
I am ready. Rob, welcome to the CNC Auto Show. What can we help with today?
Thank you. Well, first I just want to say,
hey, Rob,
even if you, sir,
we don't hear you very well, but we do see that you have an answer, that you may have an answer to our tech tip quiz. And what I was wondering, is there a chance that we could get you to hold on just for a little bit, because I didn't realize it, but we're coming up on a break real quick. Would that be okay?
I'd be happy to hold.
Well, you hold on, because that shirt's going to look good on you. I just got a feeling about that. All right. Well, we'll be right back. Okay, we'll be right back, and we'll talk about more repairs, and we'll be talking to Rob. And, well, actually, Rob will be answering our tech tip quiz as soon as we return. Because of my career as an automotive technician, I naturally love good equipment.
Aaron Clements for Camo Manufacturing.
A really good example of good equipment is the floor cleaning machine that I bought from Camo probably 9 or 10 years ago. That thing was used almost every weekday on stained, hard to clean auto repair shop floors for all of those years and still worked great. Well, just like any other field, new technology came along in the floor cleaning equipment industry, and we wanted it. So we traded our still working 9 or 10-year-old machine in on a brand new floor cleaning machine from Camo. This one does an even better job while using less cleaning solution and less water. So if you're looking for professional, long-lasting cleaning equipment, cleaning supplies that are good for the environment, or any other business supplies, call Camo at 706-724-1488. That's 706-724-1488.
Or visit their website at camo.com.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the CC Auto Show. This hour is brought to you in part by your local Napa Auto Care Centers. For as far back as I can remember, Napa Auto Parts has been known as the parts supplier for the professional automotive repair shops. I remember walking into our local Napa store when I was just 13 years old. It was like a social club for technicians. We would talk to other technicians about new techniques and equipment. We knew we were buying good quality parts, and we would all get advice from the very knowledgeable people standing at the counter. Wow, those were great memories. Well, a lot has changed over the years. We now order most of our parts online, and we very seldom pick our parts up. We place the order, and they magically appear a short period of time later. We have megabytes of information at our fingertips. The name of the game is to get it done correctly correctly but fast. But some things have stayed the same. Napa still caters to the professional shops, and they still sell good, high-quality parts. Some good things just get better. To find a Napa Auto Care Center near you, go to NapaAutoCare.com.
You're listening to the CNC Auto Show with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney, two ASE certified master technicians who really appreciate you taking your time to join us today. We'll be right back with more from Aaron and John Ryan in just a couple of minutes. So stay right where you are for more great car care advice on the CNC Auto Show.
This entire piece of music is played with only two instruments, a right hand and a left hand. Hands can do incredible things, but nothing compares to using them to help save a life with hands-only CPR. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. Hands-only CPR is recommended by the American Heart Association, and it's incredibly easy and effective. Find out more about this latest method of CPR at handsonlycpr.org. The power to help save a life is in your hands. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
If you are a good professional automotive repair facility, consider Wetzel's Automotive. Wetzel's Automotive is a Napa Auto Care Center located at 2017 Augusta Road in West Columbia. As a Napa Auto Care Center, they follow a strict code of ethics so customers know up front what to expect. They have ASE certified technicians and a 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty on most repairs, and they have the Napa name to back it up. The Wetzel's Automotive team are true professionals with training and equipment to perform all major and minor repairs, including the more complex issues. And if you plan to keep your car for many years, Wetzel's is the place to go. They will keep you informed of preventative maintenance services that will keep your vehicle safe and dependable for many years to come. So if you are looking for a good repair facility to service your vehicle, call Wetzel's Automotive. The number to call is 803-739-2999.
It's time for more good stuff with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney.
Little GTO, you really looking fine. 3 deuces and a 4-speed and a 389. Listen to her tacking up now.
And welcome back to the CNC Auto Show. I almost jumped the light, John Ryan.
Yeah, you popped the clutch too early.
I would have been disqualified big time, wouldn't I?
You yellowed.
Okay, the number to call is 706-863-5800. And we have Rob on the line.
We do.
Rob may have the answer to our tech tip quiz.
You ready?
Hey, Rob.
Hey.
First, we're going to put you on stage. Then after we do that, I'm going to mention the quiz one more time. And then everyone's going to be looking at you, Rob, to come up with the answer to this tech tip quiz. Okay, you are on stage. And, of course, the question is, Johnny owns a 2004 Ford F-150 truck. He had a flat tire. While he was changing the tire, he lost something, and it made it much harder to drive the truck. Rob, what did he lose?
Cut the spotlight on.
Oh, the spotlight is on. Yeah.
Did he lose his glasses?
Oh, his glass. That would, that's not bad.
Cut the spotlight back off.
But Rob, I tell you, you are kind of in there. Actually, I might even give a hint on this
tip?
one.
What is it?
It's on the other end of his body. I don't know. So, you want to try one more time, Rob?
Did he lose his shoes?
You're even closer, Rob. I tell you, we're working with this so close, we might just hit home here. All right, it wasn't his shoes, but you're very, very close now. I mean, you are right on top of it.
Made it harder to drive.
Yeah.
Think safety.
Yeah, safety. You are right on top of it, Rob.
He probably said something like that.
His sock.
Rob, you are even closer now. One more try.
What, did he lose his foot?
Rob, you got it on the first try.
He's a genius.
Okay.
He had a artificial leg. And
No,
he lost.
Rob, here's what happened. And this
does happen.
This does happen. Absolutely does happen. And sometimes it's even has worse consequences than making it hard to drive the truck. Johnny was out there changing his tire, and he jacked it up with that little flimsy jack that comes with cars,
right,
or trucks.
He was on a little bit of a hill.
And a little bit of a hill. The dirt was a little, or actually it was asphalt, but it was a real mushy, unstable asphalt. And the jack tended to dig in a little bit. He was under there, and then all of a sudden, his foot was halfway under the truck. The truck fell off the jack onto his foot, crushed his foot beyond repair. And
so he had two flats.
Yeah, he had two flats. So Johnny lost his foot while he was trying to change that tire. Now, a lot of times we realize that that's sort of a graphic tech tip, but the reason I say it is that happens on a regular basis with even worse consequences, that people are doing something in their backyard. It might be a tire. It might be they're changing something else on their car. They're not using a jack stand. It's on an unstable surface. The car falls on them, and they're injured very badly or killed.
Right.
So the tip part to this tech tip quiz is to use jack stands and make sure that jack's on a stable surface, and don't get your body up underneath the vehicle in doing it. And Rob, you are a tech tip quiz winner all the way.
Yeah, made my day.
Well, we appreciate you answering that quiz. All right, we're going to put you on hold just a second, and they're going to be picking up and getting all the information.
You going to let me say one other thing real quick?
Absolutely. We would love for you to.
Well, one of the main reasons I called, I just wanted to tell you and John Ryan that even if you don't care anything about automobiles or anything associated with mechanics or anything else, it's just worth it to sit here and listen to the two of y'all talk. Y'all just overflowing with enthusiasm and humor.
Well, that's very nice of you.
Rob, your paycheck's in the mail.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that goes both ways. I enjoy having the opportunity to sit here.
Oh yeah.
And talk about cars and life. And not to mention, you don't hear about something like that to where someone has a jack fall off onto their leg or them getting killed until you read it in the paper.
That's right. Well, before it's too late.
What's really neat is for people are able to hear that before that.
Right.
And some of those people may very well be going outside to work on their own car.
Right.
And they'll have that in the back of their mind.
Better than that, technicians.
Even technicians.
A technician that lifts 10, 15 cars up a day, maybe more than that. A lot of times just those quick tips like that, refresh your memory. So
I'm going to tell you something that happened to me one time. I'm serious. I was at a Mexican restaurant, and you know how you sit outside sometimes.
Yeah.
I was sitting outside this Mexican restaurant. Beside it was a automotive repair facility. Okay. It was a chain type shop, but it was nice. It was clean and very good. And I'm interested in cars anyway, and I could see over there.
Yeah.
And it was the most amazing thing. I happened to be looking at this car that was on a lift rack all the way up in the air, and I just watched it, and it just tilted. The back end just come
your way.
Boom,
fell on the ground.
It fell on the ground right there in front of me while I was sitting there eating. This truck, nobody was hurt.
Right.
But the truck was halfway.
The truck was hurt.
It was pointed exactly parallel.
Wow.
I mean, it was straight up.
That's bad news.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It is. I mean, that's a dangerous situation. It really is.
I said, what are the chances of me that enjoys working on cars are sitting here and watch a car just fall off a lift rack?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I bet you came back to the shop and you had a safety meeting.
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
you?
We had big safety tips in.
That's something that we kind of constantly do.
Yeah. And certain vehicles, you mentioned professional technicians.
Yeah.
certain vehicles are heavier in the back.
Well, I'll give you an example. Some of the fleet trucks that we do, have maybe 100 gallons of diesel in the rear. So we have to set those differently according. And of course, we use a lot of people call them dead man screw jacks. They're named 100 different things. But even when we use those, a technician's so in a habit form of just reaching over there and lowering the vehicle down. Well, if those screw jacks are under there, then you have another major issue. So we even have a process for that where it's a very simple process, and you think it in some ways is a little bit foolish, but we tie a red rag around there. And of course, obviously, you'd look at it and say, why is a red rag there? And then, of course, you would remember that. But those simple steps like that can really and truthfully save a life. Now, do you tie the red rag around the screw jack or around the button? Around the lever to release the locks on the lift rack, And years ago I had sheets made up for it, but of course the red rag just worked just as well. And obviously there's 100 of those versus one sheet. So shops out there that do that every day, that's a good safety tip also. Right. And two, of course, you can cut the power to a lot of the rotary machines and stuff like that have a power switch, so you can turn the power off too. That way, when you go over there and obviously it doesn't function, it clicks in your mind, this is why it's not functioning. That is an area I've always worried about here, to where if a vehicle is up in the air, and a screw jack is under there, what if somebody comes over and lowers the vehicle? And a screw jack on some vehicles is very important to put in there. Well, it's amazing. The little red rag trick seems to work, knock on wood. So that's it. I think that's a great safety tip. Okay, some other things that people can change themselves. One of the things, now this is kind of, I was a little hesitant on mentioning this part of it, but it has to do with replacing fuel pumps or fuel sending units. Now, some vehicles you can get to these without pulling the tank off. Yeah, some of them have, like, for instance, a passenger car that has an access panel underneath the rear seat. That's it. Of course, when does it fail, though? When it's full. So that's something you need to encounter or figure out how to deal with. But yeah, I believe. But a large portion of cars don't. And we mentioned we're going to get some safety tips to go along with this. What someone is in their driveway and they plan to drop their own gas tank for whatever reason, which I don't recommend doing that. Right. But the gauge is showing E. Okay. So they say, well, I'm going to pull this gas tank off. It's going to be light. I can manage this. Then they find out that the gauge is off. The tank's actually full. The tank removes itself. So it goes push. And hits the ground, either falls on top of them or falls. So you can really pulling a fuel tank off without a lift rack and without the proper equipment, without having the equipment that you can drain the tank out, can really be a little bit on the dangerous side. And that goes also for I know this is kind of more for people to do it yourselfers, but also in an automotive shop. It's a good thing to have a gas caddy. Don't put gas in a 5-gallon round bucket. Use proper approved containers for that very reason, so it won't be venting the fumes. Because all that gas will be exposed. Exactly. And very easily vapors coming off of it. Things like gas caddies and of course the approved cans will, again, save lives. It does. Okay, we're going to need to take a real quick break. We'll be talking about more items as soon as we return.
Aaron Clements for Napa Auto Care Center.
Regular maintenance is the key to getting the most out of your vehicle, but you shouldn't have to sacrifice trust and peace of mind when finding a repair center for your automobile. Napa Auto Care Centers are built around a high-quality standard whereby independent repair business owners are invited to join based on integrity, qualifications, and expertise. That's how Napa Auto Care ensures that you get the best-in-class service that you deserve. From routine maintenance to major repairs, you are covered with ASE-certified technicians who use high-quality Napa parts and provide exceptional work that you can feel confident about, knowing it's backed by a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. With the largest network of independent technicians in the U.S., a Napa Auto Care Center is sure to be near wherever you may be.
Thanks, Aaron. For a list of Napa Auto Care Centers near you, go to NapaAutoCare.com or dial 1-800-LET-NAPA.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I might look like an adult, like a person who could possibly be a parent, but I have no idea how to talk like one. And everyone knows that if you want to be a parent, you have to sound good when you say things like, "Don't make me turn this car around," or "because I said so," or "Don't make me come back there." I don't even really know what those things mean, but I know that I actually believed my parents when they said them to me. How did they manage to sound so convincing? Here we go. "Don't make me come back there." Ugh, no, that's not tough enough at all. Kids can sense weakness. "Don't make me come back there." Ooh, yeah, that's better. In fact, that kind of sounded like my dad. Weird.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to listen to you practice your dad voice. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit adoptuskids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for sharing your morning with us right here on the CNC Auto Show, hosted by Aaron Clements and Ryan Mooney, two ASC certified master technicians who believe in helping you make your car run better and last longer while saving you money and having fun, all at the same time. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter, Brooklyn, was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Aaron, I know you get a kick out of letting our listeners know where they can find a great Napa Auto Care Center, so tell us about one here in the Midlands.
Here's what I know everyone will like, JR. It's Three Man Auto Service. They are located at 1215 Rosewood Drive in Columbia. Three Man Auto Service has the right equipment and training to perform all major and minor repairs on your car, truck, van, or SUV. That includes everything from a basic oil change and lube on up to a computer system diagnostic test. And if you have a diesel engine that is in need of repairs or maintenance, Three Man Auto Service is the place to go. As a Napa Auto Care Center, they feature ASC certified automotive technicians and offer a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty on most repairs. That's Three Man Auto Service, 1215 Rosewood Drive in Columbia. The number to call is 803-748-0932 and tell them Aaron sent you.
That's 803-748-0932.
Welcome back to more of the CNC Auto Show with Aaron Clements and Ryan Mooney.
And welcome back to the CNC Auto Show. And we are taking your phone calls. You can give us a call, 706-863-5800, 806 to 10 on Saturday mornings, Eastern Time. And we are also talking about easy repairs on cars, things that you might be able to do yourself. We're giving tips along with that, things that you can do, and also safety tips on things that you, that way you can do it safely.
Yep.
And not catch the house on fire when you're doing it.
That's right.
Or get into bad problems and have to go to the emergency room, things like that. That's what we want to be able to help with. Now, one component or one item that I feel like that a lot of people could do themselves if they, it's good to have a little bit of experience on this, but that would be to change a fuse. Let's say there's a component not working. Let's say all of a sudden your cell phone won't charge in your cigarette lighter anymore.
Right.
Sometimes
that's when people trade the car in.
Yeah, they say, "Oh, my power outlet don't work anymore." Yeah. So now, one of the things that a person can do to check the fuses. Here's what happens a lot of times when somebody's trying to find what fuse is bad. They tend to start pulling each fuse out,
and it's tempting because, of course, the fuse box has a fuse puller in it in most cases,
and you just sit there and go shoot. Boop, boop, boop. And each time that's causing voltage spikes.
Right.
And the voltage spikes can cause damage to different parts. You have some cars have 40, 50 different modules on them, computers and all
that's
of
an
this
average
other
car,
stuff.
Really.
And causing those voltage, it hits something that is a problem.
Yeah.
So you don't want to pull them out. You can buy a cheap test light.
Yeah.
And on the test light, you would want to first make sure the emergency brake's pushed in.
Mm-hmm.
And then cut the key in the on position.
Right.
Because you're going to be leaning down under the car, and you don't want a car sitting there that might accidentally slip and drive or something like that, and you go rolling back while you're laying on the floorboard.
Yep.
And believe me, it's not fun.
Yeah.
No.
I was wondering why you were doing that.
Well, it happened to me on a dune buggy one time many years ago. It was not fun. Okay, now you do want to check that you want to touch each side of the fuse.
Right.
And if you have your little book to where you can tell where the fuse is, now that does make it that much easier.
Sure.
Because you can go to the one that says cigarette lighter and picture it on the little box there, and you can go
on
to
the
it.
index.
Now, if it lights up on one side and does not light up on the other, then that is a bad fuse.
That's correct.
If it lights up on both sides, then that's
Showing
either not
current
the
flow.
problem or you're on the wrong fuse. Now, many times if you do that and you don't find that fuse bad, I would go ahead and check all the
rest of
fuses.
them, that's right.
Because a lot of times it may go through one fuse before it gets to that fuse.
And I think, too, what you mentioned is very important also. You mentioned with the car on. Well, also for different systems, for instance, if it's a headlight bulb that's out or something like that, that switch needs to be on.
Instrument lights are the same way.
Yeah, because you want to have that circuitry on. That way power is being sent through it. One thing I've actually seen quite a few times, just out of coincidence, people, like you mentioned, pulled the fuses, checked them, pulled the fuse, checked them. Bad thing is, when they pulled them, they set them on the floorboard. They pulled the next one. They pulled the next one. Before you know it, there's not a fuse in the fuse box.
Yeah.
Now you have no clue where they went. Of course, there's 10 amp, there's 50 amp, 20 amp, all the different amperages. So then you're really in a bind because most diagrams don't indicate what amperage the fuse requires.
Yeah.
So in a lot of time, you need more of a technician's type repair manual to actually do that.
And that was the other thing I was going to mention on there.
Yeah.
Is you definitely don't want to put too high a fuse back in a spot.
Well, and you can look at it two ways. You're going to find the problem because wherever the problem is, it's going to catch on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely don't do that.
And then you've located it because that's where the smoke is coming from.
Yeah, exactly, where the smoke's coming from. And then, of course, obviously, you create more damage than good. So.
Now, I'm going to mention one other thing that you want to be very careful of also.
Okay.
Is that test light. I mentioned purchasing a cheaper test light.
Right.
That test light is fine to check on things like the fuses.
I think it's safe just to say fuses.
Yeah, fuses only. There's a few other things like, for instance,
headlight power,
things
stuff like that,
headlight power. But as a general rule, only for fuses.
Right.
That test light might pull, let's say, 1 amp to light that little light bulb, and you're able to check each side, and you do okay with that.
Right.
But other components, like if you was to take that same test light and check for power on a part that's
like
going
you're
to
going
a
to check
computer.
the 5-volt reference on a sensor.
Exactly.
You just shorted out that driver.
Yeah.
So.
When you see whatever it's hooked to, you might see a little puff of smoke go like that.
And that told you it was working, and now is not working.
Exactly. That was the magic.
That was the magic.
Inside that little box. And that magic just goes poosh.
That's right. And I think Bo was going to mention something too, weren't you?
Oh, Bo.
On my car, occasionally the door locks will stop functioning. And what I found out, it's a common problem with my make of car.
Okay.
And looking on YouTube, I found out that you can go pull the fuse for that particular problem, leave it out for 30 seconds,
right,
and then put it back in, and it functions again. And the only thing you have to do is reset the time on the clock.
Resets the module.
It's a pretty simple fix, courtesy of YouTube.
So that's a YouTube repair. And that is a great point also, because there's a lot of things, for instance, something as simple as doing brakes,
right?
Like a front brake job on a vehicle. A lot of people go out and say, yeah, I remember when I used to do brakes a long time ago, and I can put these brake pads on.
Right.
Well, for instance, they may take a C-clip, and let's say it's rear calipers.
Right.
And they say, I'm going to push that piston back in.
Just like I did on my 70 Malibu.
Exactly. But what happens is when you push those pistons back in, the parking brake is built into some calipers, and you just ruined a caliper.
That's right. And then
of course,
with the newer vehicles, of course, obviously you have electronic rear brake calipers too. Same scenario. But
only they're more.
Exactly. Only it's just more damage in your wallet. So exact example.
So actually, a lot of times looking at YouTube now, of course, having a repair manual would even be better. But if you don't have a regular repair manual, then a lot of times you can go in and just watch a YouTube, and it may give you at least a few pointers on something like that, on letting you know that. Also, if you're putting your own brake pads on, you don't. A long time ago, we used to just push the piston in and everything was fine.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times, if you got brakes that have the brake fluid's got hot, it's gotten gummy, and all that, then that brake fluid is sitting inside that caliper.
Yeah.
Well, if you just push that piston in, it's going to push all of that gummy stuff on back up inside the anti-lock brake assembly, which cars didn't have.
Right. And I was going to say, even if the fluid is clean, ABS systems do not like that. There's no reason for the fluid to go backwards in the amount that, when you're pushing a caliper back.
So you might ruin it. What you want to do is loosen the bleed valve and then push the piston back in, and that way it pushes that old brake fluid outside the vehicle instead. Right. So, and in doing it like that, then you of course you would need to add more brake fluid to it because it'll go down just a little bit, but you're not taking a chance on messing up your anti-lock brake assembly. Now, I'm assuming that a lot of the items like YouTube and things like that may very well would tell you exactly what to do in that particular situation.
Right.
I wouldn't always depend on it 100%, but you can get some good information.
I think it's a good guideline at least.
Yeah, you can
especially if the end of the video the man's driving away in it.
Exactly. Yeah. John Ryan, we got some call. We got
and we've got less than a minute. What do you think? You want to just try, Kevin?
Yeah, let's go for it real quick. We got less than a minute, Kevin. What can we help with?
I just bought a 10-year-old Honda Civic. It's got 165,000 miles on it, and it runs great, except occasionally I get radio squealing noise, like engine noise through the speakers. It's less than 2 or 3% of the time, but it just squeals at me, and wonder if you had any ideas.
Okay, I'm going to drop Kevin real quick. I have had some Hondas do that, and right beside the distributor is a capacitor. A lot of times when the distributor has been replaced, the capacitor did not get reinstalled.
Wow.
So that very well could be it, and Toyotas are bad about that.
What a way to close the show, man. Time clock's on E. We'll pull over. I'm Aaron Clements with co-host John Ryan Mooney, our show producer Sherry Moxley, Zach Llewellyn, Bert Dean, Bo Roberts, Alan Dean, and Sandy Klein. We would all like to say thank you all that tuned in, logged in, and especially those that called in to ride with us on the C Auto Show, and we'll catch you on the next trip.
Tacos of cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter, Brooklyn, was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
I have found that one of the most important ingredients to quality car repair, whether you're repairing it yourself or having it repaired, is to use good quality parts. That's why I've been using and recommending Napa parts for many years. They fit, they work, and they last. And they have the Napa name backing that up. Professionals do not like having to do a job over, and that's why so many professional shops use Napa Auto Parts. My guess is that you don't want to do the job over either, and that's why you should use Napa Parts also. So for a Napa Auto Parts store near you, go to NapaOnline.com and search for the store that is most convenient for you. You'll also see a lot of neat specials and some very useful information. So get the good stuff. Get Napa Auto Parts.